Hello everyone, welcome to A Trader's Journey. My name is Leslie Pips. Thank you again for joining me for another Sunday sessions pre-market mix. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it. So obviously, we've had a bit of a slow market last week because of the obviously the government shutdown in the US. So because the shutdown is ending, we should expect a lot of news coming in, which means we're gonna be breaking a lot of important levels on the market. So from next week, I think we have FOMC next week, and we'll see what the news comes out of it. So the market has been waiting for this type of liquidity in the market to come in and give us a direction on how we're gonna end the year. So looking at the euro dollar chart, as you can see, we sort of touched on this very area. It's a very area because we broke structure. This is where the volume came in. Obviously, we still have this structure here that we still haven't broken yet. This price point over here. So price is sort of stuck, struggling to break this level. So we have to see what happens next week. If we're gonna get volume pushing price, maybe retest this value area again, and then see price if price can push down again. At the moment, we reached this area. Friday failed to break. So we wait to see what comes from next week in terms of news, and see what happens there. So at the moment, we are rejecting this area. This is the value area that I have marked up here. Obviously, we had a strong push down and a strong push up again. So this is our level. We'll see if we break above it. We can start seeing levels like this being taken care of, taken out, and levels like this, and then see if we can maybe retest this area, this zone over here, if we break this level. So this is the one to look out for next week, coming into Monday, and see if what Monday gives us. And if I move down to the 4 hour, and then you can clearly see, obviously this is our inflection point. A lot of traders were trapped in this area here. Obviously there's a lot of stops here, and but the real value was up at this level over here. The real value was here, and a lot of traders tried to enter the price as soon as we broke below this area. If you took the trade and got out quickly, then you made some money out of there, but we knew that the real volume was up here at this area. So now that we've tagged that area, I'm going to be looking to see if price can hold and we can see some volume. You can clearly see there's a level here where price is sort of rejecting at the moment. If we manage to flip the zone, then if we can clearly see the trend line here, it's also holding price. So this is the area, the zone that I'm looking at. If we flip the zone, maybe break below it and hold this area, and then we can see if we can reach this target one next week. But this is all dependent on how the news come out. It might be good, it might be bad for the dollar. We'll see. But obviously this is our trend line. We've been bouncing off it for quite some time now, and this is our flip area. If we see we can flip this area and hold and above this area, but it needs to close with some volume. We need to see a very big candle closing, holding this area, especially on the 4 hour, and then we can wait for it to correct into the zone, see if the 1 hour can hold, and then look for a change in momentum after our corrective structure. So I'm looking at this zone at the moment, but if price opens, like I said, on the daily, hits this area again, we'll see if we're able to break and do this, or if we can hold and bearish momentum kick in. So at the moment, we're in a quite a precarious zone, and we'll wait for next week to dictate where price is trying to go. So obviously, when we trade, we are reactive. Obviously you want to be proactive and plan before the trade, but you react to how the market is acting. So that's the my plan on this trade. If we can break and hold that zone, then I'll be interested. The 1 hour, there's not a lot of information. We still have target areas that you can target if you like to scale in and out of a trade. That's if the market gives you a trade, and then obviously the big target is below here, target one, the one. If we break this target, then we can come down here, but that's you don't want to be overly ambitious, especially in the fourth quarter. where a lot of people are pricing out of their positions, long-term positions, by the way. So you want to be trade carefully and don't set your realistic targets. So that's what I'm looking at euro dollar. If I go to pound, pound for me is a bit messy. I'm gonna stay out of it for a bit until we close this gap on the daily. You can see we've rejected this area. We still have a gap here between this low and this high, so there's a bit of a gap here the price can tap into and potentially retest this area and move down again. But our value in this area, you can see we have, this is where the original volume came in, right? So that's the value that I think this structure has. This is the value of this structure. The original volume came in here, which pushed price. We broke structure here, broke structure here, had a bit of a pullback. This is a bit corrective for me, but it's been pulling back for a while, and I'm looking to see if we can break this low over here, maybe tap into the value area, or if this zone can hold and see some volume pushing down, and then we can target first. Our target one could be the structure one, structure low, and then potentially this low over here. But at the moment, pound for me, it's not in a zone that I would love. So I want to see if we can open strong, maybe tap into this, fill this gap. Obviously this is our inflection point, this this area here, this is our inflection point. So a lot of people will put their stops above here, but there's still a gap between this low and this high. So I want to see is fill this gap, and if this level can hold, or if it doesn't hold, then this is my final zone where I can look into short. If that doesn't hold, then price will continue going higher. So at the moment, I'm staying put on pound. I'll show you now once I move into the lower time frames on what I say. Pound, I'm not looking to trade at the moment because of everything that was happening on Friday here. We move up, we move down, we move up, we move down. So now price is getting very corrective at the zone. Let me just remove this here. So we kind of tapped into this 4-hour value area, but obviously, like I said, I want price to fill this gap. We tapped into it, some volume came in, and then we had this in this decisive candle, but we ended the day very corrective. Friday was very corrective, so we ended very correctively. So we'll see what happens with price at this zone. I sort of don't like how these long wicks on pound, and so I'm staying out of it for a bit. I'm looking at the euro for now until pound starts giving me some clean market structure. So at the moment, pound, I'm monitoring it. I would love it to hit this gap and maybe reject a bit, and then we can see if we can hit this target and then maybe the structure low. But at the moment, I'm staying out of pound because of what was happening on Friday, especially because pound has been very weak. It's very erratic at the moment. It's been very weak, low GDP numbers, and yeah, the data that's coming out of the UK hasn't been great. So the pound is very reactive. If the dollar moves a bit, then the pound shoots up very erratically. So euro has been stable for a bit, so I'm focusing on euro at the moment. Going to UJ, UJ also struggling at 155. It's struggling to break the 155. This is our obviously here is our yearly high, and we are getting very close to the yearly highs here, but we're struggling to break this 155 area. So this is the original volume that started all this move, and then we've been correcting up, and some volume came in, and then we sort of stopped at 155 for a few days. So it's failing to break, but it's also failing to move down a bit because of the yen pairs of all of them have been very weak. They've been pushing up, a lot of strong momentum in the yen pairs. That's why it's failing to drop. So we just see how it's gonna happen, what's gonna happen when the news come out from the US, and then we can make our decision. But the yen pairs have been very bullish for some time now. So the yen is very weak. There is a threat of intervention coming. So if you're gonna trade the yen, be careful. The intervention can happen at any moment. So let's wait and see what happens here. If I move on to the 4 hour, you can see we are still bouncing off this trend line. We are clearly in a trend. Price is sort of stopped at 155. They think that we are priced in for the year at 155, but I think because of how weak the yen pairs have been, it might push higher again, maybe interact with the yearly highs. But we'll see if we can break the 155 price point. Maybe break back. If we can't, then we'll. If I see any bearish, let me just move this out the way. If I see any bearish price action coming in, and then especially coupled with the news that's going to come out of the US, and then we can make our decision. So we're going to be following the news, and then hopefully if we get to the yen gets a little bit stronger, the dollar gets a bit weaker, we can start seeing some moves. But I'm looking at this zone here to end the year. If we get some not so positive news from the US, then we can see the yen gaining some strength, and then potentially filling this gap. So I'm just keeping a watchful eye on the yen pairs. I'm not gonna trade the yen pairs for now. Obviously, I'm not trading gold for now. The one that I've added onto my watch list is New Zealand dollar. It's been very steady. And at the moment, I've got this zone marked in as my volume area that I've been looking to make decisions on. So if price continue to correct up into the zone, and if we fail to break the zone, then I can target the lows here. And I'll make my decision as soon as price gets into the zone. So at the moment, we had this momentum, we broke structure, and we've been correcting up into the zone. So I'm looking at making my decisions when price gets into the zone. So I'm keeping an eye on it at the moment. Euro is looking cleaner for me, and I'm keeping an eye on the yen pairs based on what's going to happen next week. So hopefully you guys like the video. Appreciate you guys for everything. Thank you.